The Red Sox right now are on the verge of staring down the barrel of another long ending to a season. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin. The Boston Red Sox were just swept by the Houston Astros at home this weekend. That officially puts their season record at 61-55 on the year, 7.5 games out of first place, and tied with Seattle for now 3 games back of a wild card spot. And I got to tell you, it feels like we've seen this movie before, right? Specifically last year, coming out of an Astros series where they got kind of bludgeoned to death, and the way things took a turn from there. This one feels eerily similar. I'm just hoping it isn't. So what we are going to do in today's video is we're going to take a look at this series and what it could mean for the future of the 2024 Sox. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. I don't really know where to start in terms of recapping this series. There was not really much that we could go into in terms of a positive note here. There was a stark difference, let me tell you, between the feelings of Red Sox fans coming into this series and now the feelings of them coming out of this series. So I think this just simply has to be a negative video. And I guess we're going to start by talking about this pitching staff that's been a problem for the Red Sox for a couple of months now. It continues to be by far and away their biggest problem going forward. I mean, in this series, the Red Sox had a singular starter be able to go for them. It was just Tanner Houck in the first game, and in all fairness to Tanner, it was actually a pretty good stat line, right? Six innings, 1 earned run. He did only strike out 1, but I think what's going on with Tanner right now is he's trying to find a way to adapt to his stuff diminishing, right? He's getting through the season. That arm fatigue is settling in now. He's trying to figure out how to still be effective while also not having the same stuff he did at the beginning of the year, and this is actually a pretty good sign that he's being able to do that. Maybe he tries to limit himself more towards weak contact than he does strikeout stuff. I don't know. Maybe this is what we see going forward, but I got to appreciate what we've seen from Tanner Houck here. Okay, so there was a positive we could talk about. Outside of that, looking at this pitching staff, it's hard to find another positive, right? You only had one starter in this series because your other starter, Nick Pivetta, needed to start off, and the third starter, James Paxton, made it 4 pitches into the game before he went down with an injury that looks like he's probably not going to come back this year. We'll have more information on James Paxton probably later today. He's getting an MRI right now, basically. So we'll probably know pretty immediately what's going on with James Paxton, but man, from everything we have read, from everything that has come out, it really doesn't sound like we're going to be getting much of James Paxton, if at all, for the rest of the year. And now the problem becomes, what do? You can't have 4 starters in this rotation. You got to figure something out. Is it to bring Cooper Criswell back into the rotation? Maybe. I don't hate that idea, but also they kind of need more than that. They needed more than that at the deadline. We talked about it at the deadline when they got James Paxton. I said, you said, we all said, it just simply was not enough, and this is exactly why. This is why everyone's real nervous about the only acquisition being James Paxton. You could have done something in the offseason, you didn't. Now you're sort of stuck in this situation. It's Cooper Criswell, it's Quinn Priester, who has a lot of potential, but is trying to rework basically his entire repertoire down in AAA right now. I don't know if that's going to translate well into Major League Baseball. It certainly hasn't translated yet in minor league baseball. You've got Richard Fitz, who could be at least an interesting call-up, but you don't want to call that guy up too early. He's had his struggles in AAA. I'd love to see him get more solidified before he gets up here. It sounds like your best option going forward to just simply get innings the rest of the season is to re-sign Rich Hill, the 72-year-old, for the 40th time coming back to the Boston Red Sox, fresh off the streets, right? That's basically your best option at this point. And at some point, and really it's been this entire year, but the finger pointing just goes straight to the front office. It goes straight, honestly, above the front office to this ownership group. If you had just simply invested in this team like we knew you should have, this would not have been a problem. And that's my biggest fear with this Red Sox team, because there's not really a solution going forward. There's nothing to fix what is going on in this rotation right now, aside from guys either doing it themselves or someone stepping up in a really big way, and that's asking a lot of these guys. I mean, you look at it, and it's not just the rotation, it's also the bullpen as well. The bullpen really had some bad moments in this series. There were times where basically everyone who came in had a bad moment. I would say outside of maybe Chris Martin, who had a really solid series. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but eye test, he he looked really good. I don't necessarily blame this bullpen all that much. Craig Breslow did attempt to actually reinforce this bullpen at the deadline. I can't really get mad at him all that much. It's mostly just the fact that they're being overworked and overused and overexposed. And right now, again, it's because of this rotation just simply falling apart. The wheels are totally off this rotation right now. And it's wild because you came into this series being like, yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, but this offense, hey man, it's carrying you all the way. Let's see if they can continue to carry you. And pretty immediately, they just immediately stopped being able to carry them. So I don't know what to talk about with this pitching staff because it just feels like every single thing that could go wrong has been going wrong lately, and there's not really a solution in sight. It feels like the best solution at this point is to just let it ride and see what happens. What else are you going to do? Signing Rich Hill could give you some innings, could give you some experience. It's not going to give you quality innings. It's not going to give you quality experience. At some point, what do you expect from Rich Hill? He's pushing 50 at this point? I don't know, 4 innings, 2-3 runs every time he's out there. It's better than, I guess, nobody, but it's not exactly fantastic. And again, the other guys in the minor leagues, it's just not where you want them to be. You can force them up and see maybe, hey, the pressure turns coal into diamonds, but pressure could also just crush the coal, and now you've got a potential diamond ruined forever. I don't know. The pitching is incredibly worrisome right now, but it's not just the pitching. The offense in this series was a bit concerning as well. So before we get into that, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just helps them out a ton. It's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content we are putting out. Thank you all very much for taking a second and doing so. Let's get into the offense and the overall meeting for the Boston Red Sox. The problems with the pitching really aren't anything new. The biggest new thing that came about in this series is the fact that James Paxton may not be coming back and rejoining this team right now, and that's obviously a massive hit to this Red Sox pitching staff, but they've been doing this for a while. We've been saying for a very long time that this offense is going to have to carry this team to the promised land if they want to get there. Well, this series, that's exactly what they did not do. This offense just simply could not get the job done. Whether you want to look at it in terms of runners in scoring position, they were very, very poor with runners in scoring position in this series, or you want to look at their ability to make contact. Their ability to make contact with the baseball was abysmal in this one. Really, really bad. They struck out 40 times in 3 games. 40 times in 3 games is over 10 strikeouts a game. That is a whole lot of swing and miss from an offense that, yeah, it's been swinging and missing this entire season, but to that degree is just absolutely ridiculous. And I get it. You're facing some really solid Houston Astros pitching, but you're at home. You've been one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball. At the very least, I expect these guys to put the baseball in play more than they don't, and it felt like they just simply did not do that in this series. And it is kind of hard to rag on this offense, right? It's hard to sit here and say, oh, this offense is absolutely terrible, because they've been the best offense in baseball since the All-Star break. They have been way better than they should be because this pitching staff has forced them to be better. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the offense is the problem with this team, but this is what this Red Sox team is going to look like when the offense can't get the job done. And that's a lot of pressure on these guys in the batter's box to get it done. And sometimes that just simply is not going to work. If the Red Sox offense is not scoring runs, and to sit here and say that this was an off series for this Red Sox offense when they scored 4 runs in 2 out of the 3 of these games, that's the biggest problem with this team right now. You have to score 8-9 runs in order to win these games. You need to be able to find a way to win games that aren't absolute slugfests. You need to find a way to win close, tight, low-scoring games, or you're not going to get to where you need to be, and this is going to fall off very, very quickly here for the Boston Red Sox. Like I said, man, you come into this series probably at one of the higher points you've been at this entire season, right? It felt like you would stop the bleeding. It felt like you would stop the skid. It felt like, hey, we just went into Kansas City. We took 2 out of 3 games from the team directly in front of us. This is the start of us making a legitimate push. And now you're coming into Monday, 3 days later, you don't have a fifth starter anymore. James Paxton could possibly be out for the season. Your rotation's in shambles. Your bullpen can't get the job done. Your offense is cold as hell. Your best player's throwing slurs into the audience because he can't handle people talking to him. I mean, this is absolutely brutal. This is the lowest in terms of vibes surrounding this Red Sox team that we have seen this entire year. That is not a good thing, and it feels like, again, you'll go back to 2023 and you think about that Houston Astros series where Jose Altuve hit for the cycle and Kyle Barraclough had one of the most memorable games for one of the worst reasons ever. It feels really eerily similar, doesn't it? It feels like, okay, the pitching staff is totally gone. The team just simply cannot compete against good pitching, which you got to be able to do if you're going to try and win these games. Good teams beat good pitching, and they did not beat good pitching in this series. The defense looked a little bit iffy in this. I mean, it was everything. There was not really any good notes to pull out of this. There were home runs, sure, but I'm not going to sit here and show the home runs when every other aspect of this team is just suffering right now. As one of the most optimistic Red Sox, I would even say personalities on anything, I would say I am more optimistic than the average fan. To sit here and have an entire conversation about negativity is absolutely killing me. I just can't find any positives coming out of this. The only thing I could think of is that we've been saying it a couple of times this year. We've had points with this 2024 Red Sox team where everybody's ready to give up on them, right? Where at the beginning of the year, they can't get above 500. When they start winning, everyone says, the pitching's going to fall apart. Now that the pitching is falling apart, everyone's saying, yeah, this is the end of the season for the Red Sox. And yet, despite that, they've been able to find a way to continue to win baseball games, but this time doesn't it feel a little bit different? Like, it feels like this could be the end of this. And coming out of this series, if they don't figure themselves out now, and I'm talking about like a full sweep of the Texas Rangers, because it's not going to get any easier here. You're falling to good opponents, sure, but you're going to have to beat basically only good opponents for the rest of the season. You got to find a way to do that. There's a very real chance that by the end of the month, the Red Sox are out of contention, and I hate saying that. It makes me want to die because this team, can be better. This team can play better. I just don't know if they could play better in time to figure themselves out, and I don't know that they have the depth to really, truly turn this team around. But what I will say is that they are going to be getting healthier soon. You've got Nick Pivetta coming back. You've got Brian Bayo coming back. You've got Tristan Casas coming back. You've got other players like Liam Hendricks coming back. There are reinforcements coming. I just don't know how much that's going to change the landscape of the team. Like, I love Tristan Casas, and yes, he will make this offense better. Is that really the turning point of this season? I don't think so. I think the offense could be the best in baseball. It is the best in baseball, and they still have a losing record, right? Nick Pivetta coming back, that's great. Is it going to totally change the landscape of this rotation right now? Not really. You didn't miss too much time, and you're still without your only veteran pitcher in James Paxton, so you still have a major problem there. I don't know what the solution is, and it absolutely sucks to say that. So at this point, I think it's just hoping and praying that this doesn't go downhill incredibly fast, that they can hang on at least for most of September so we get competitive September baseball. I'm not fully out on this team. Again, they still have the talent to win baseball games. They still have the ability to be very, very good. I'm starting to lose hope a little bit, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think? What did you think of this series? Was this the nail in the coffin for some of you guys? Are you done with this 2024 Red Sox team? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox series in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Again, it just helps these videos out a ton. It's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content we are putting out. Also, don't forget, if you want to listen to these episodes instead of watch, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.